Hi friends, thank you so much for practicing with me today. I'm really excited about our sequence today. It's a vinyasa sequence, but we're slowing down the pace at times because we're focusing on having an intention of calming and finding encouragement and strength in the middle of your struggles. So a little bit slower pace today. I recommend playing something like Bob Marley. That would be perfect. The tempo, the vibes, everything. But play whatever you want to play. Grab some water and meet me on the mat. Hi again, friends. Namaste. And thank you so much for sharing a little chunk of your life with me today. I'm honored. We're going to start our yoga flow today seated on the mat. So come on down to the mat to a comfortable place, making sure that you find the sitting bones and start to bring your spine up into a long neutral place. We'll gently engage the shoulder blades, trying not to round at the back, and then bringing palms up to rest on the knees. Let's take a deep breath in through the nose and exhale through the nose. Good. Let's do that a few more times at our own pace. Perhaps closing your eyes on an exhale. And using this time of just natural deep breaths as a chance to disconnect from your day. So on your exhales, letting go of worries or anxieties. On your exhales, letting go of stress. And if that's hard to do today, then just think, I will let go of this stress while I'm practicing yoga on my mat. Just putting it on hold. And then let's start to deepen the breath gently. Listening to the breath, matching the length of the inhale to the length of the exhale. And in this way we can settle into a nice rhythm with it. Let's also think of breathing in a way where we fill the lungs from the bottom of the lungs all the way up to the top of the lungs. Getting a full breath in every time. So for this yoga sequence today, focusing on encouragement. Our intention today is actually a quote. And Oprah said it, so it must be wise. But the quote goes, "Where there is no struggle, there is no strength." Where there is no struggle, there is no strength. So we can keep that in mind if we're going through a struggle. I've noticed personally in my life that personal growth hardly ever comes from easy breezy things. Personal growth usually comes from difficult things. And usually on the other side of that struggle is a lot of strength and a lot of wisdom gained. So if that's you today, going through a struggle, don't fret. Don't fret. Just remember, on the other side of that struggle is probably a lot of strength and wisdom waiting for you. So where there is no struggle, there is no strength. Let's bring our hands to prayer pose in front of the heart. Let's have one more big deep breath in. Exhale, opening the eyes. On an inhale, let's reach the arms up and overhead. We want to really pull up through the sides of the body, reach tall, and then pull down through the shoulder blades. Let's do it again. To prayer pose, to reach up, exhale, pull down. We inhale as we rise. Exhale, pulling down. Start to match it to your breath. Moving in a way that feels nice. We want this to feel really good at the back and the shoulders and the shoulder blades. And we're paying attention to our breathing, where there's no struggle. There's no strength. Let's have one more breath like this. Eventually relaxing hands to the knees, still seated tall. On an inhale, let's lift the heart a little more for seated cow. On an exhale, round into seated cat. Inhale, lift the heart again for seated cow. Exhaling, seated cat. Start to move with your breath again, matching your inhale to your exhale. Listening to your body. We want to notice right about now how the body's feeling today, now that we're moving, and honoring where you're at. It's one of my favorite things about yoga. You can dial it up if you're feeling energetic. You can dial it back if you're a little tired. You can adjust every pose to meet you where you're at. Let's have one more breath here for cow and one more for cat. Wherever you are, don't rush. Then bringing your spine back up to a neutral place, seated tall. Have a big breath in. Exhale, relax. Let's touch our shoulder tops. Make some circles with your elbows. Getting some gentle movement at your shoulder joint. Working on mobility here. And then let's pause and then reverse the direction. Circle around the other way. Listening to the breath still. Let's relax the arms down. Have a breath in. Exhale. Let's make our way to all fours. So come to all fours on your mat, placing your knees right under your hips and your hands right under your shoulders. Fingers fan out wide to have a nice stable foundation at the mat. Let's pull the shoulder blades down and away from the head and neck so we feel really sturdy at the shoulder joints. On an inhale, let's lift the right arm up in the air and we can look up past that right hand if it feels okay at the neck. Let's ease it down. Plant that hand. Now let's do the other side. Inhale, lift your left arm. Again, we can gaze up if we want to, or if that hurts, don't do it. Ease down. Let's start to go with our breath. Inhale, rise up through the right arm. Exhale, plant that right hand. Inhale, rise up through the left arm. Exhale, plant it. Start to alternate, moving with your breath. And in yoga, our breath is always top priority. So we're making sure that we're not rushing our breath, but we're just pacing these poses to go right along with our breath. So in this pose, we're getting a gentle rotation in the spine. We're warming up the arms and we're practicing stabilizing the shoulder joint. Really, really, really important. We're also thinking of creating hip stability by keeping our hips still, not letting them tilt or shift. And I say let's just do one more on each side. Hopefully your spine is loosening up a little bit. As you exhale this time, take it all the way back to child's pose, but walk your hands out in front of you, extended child's pose, where we're reaching through the arms, the sides of the body, the back. We pause for a deep breath. Exhale. So check in with your wrists. If they're a little achy or tired, give them a few figure eights or a few circles. Plant them on the mat again. Extended child's. And then we'll tuck the toes. Inhale, lift the hips up in the air for downward facing dog. So for downward facing dog, let's think about planting the hands, bending the knees at first so that we can aim our tailbone up, and that helps us lengthen the back more. And then we want to make sure the shoulders are safe once again. So let's pull the shoulder blades down and away from the head and the neck. Now let's start to warm up the legs a little more. Let's bend one knee, press the opposite heel toward the mat, and then gently release and switch. And we'll just alternate with this a few times where we're getting some length in the back of the legs and some healthy movement in the feet and the ankles and the toes. Now, let's settle back to downward dog. Let's come up to the tippy toes. Exhale, lower the knees down. We want shins just about parallel to the floor. Feeling the legs work. Scoop the core in. Aim the tailbone up again and lengthen the back. We're breathing. Warming those legs and release the heels down to normal downward facing dog. Okay, let's gently lower the right knee down to the mat. It's right under the hip. And here's where a block would help you. So we're going to go into kneeling side plank. We'll swing that right foot back behind us like a little kickstand propping us up. We'll have the block under the right hand. We'll squeeze the glutes to press the hips forward. And then we'll come up into this kneeling side plank. Let's think about creating space. So plant your left foot, lengthen the leg, lengthen the side of the body, lengthen the arms, both of them, so your wingspan is really long. Now let's start to ease the shoulder blades away from the head and neck. Maybe even looking up. Squeeze the core, pull that core in, squeeze your obliques too, and then maybe reaching over, lengthening through the side of the body. Come back to your breath, matching the inhale to the exhale. And on the next exhale, let's ease all the way back down. Move the block. Exhale to extended child's. And we'll do the same thing other side. So let's tuck the toes, plant the palms. Inhale, lift to downward dog. Exhale, settle into your pose. Aim the tailbone up. Pull the shoulder blades away from the head and neck. Lengthen your back. Have a couple heel presses, alternating. We want to move today in a way that feels really good. So we're always aware of how we move, how it feels. We don't want pain. Some poses might be challenging, but we don't want pain. Now let's come up to the tippy toes. Lower the knees. Scoop the core in. Aim the tailbone up. Lengthen your back. It's like you're pressing your heart toward your knees. Let's see if we can have one more breath here. And then release the heels. Big breath in. Exhale, lower the left knee to the mat, right under the hip. Bring that left foot behind you as a little kickstand. You want to make sure the knee is right under the hip too, that helps. And then the block is under the left hand. Squeeze your glutes, press forward. Press your right foot into the mat. Inhale, reach up. So a wide wingspan. And this helps to think of we're not sinking onto the shoulder joint or the block. We're lifting up constantly. Everything's active. Let's scoop the core in and let's pull the shoulder blades down the back. Creating space. We want to feel spacious here. Glutes are working, core is working. Let's reach over for the last few breaths. And if it hurts to look up for the neck, then you can look straight ahead or you can even look down, whatever feels good on your neck. Listening to your breath, pacing it. On the next exhale, sweep that arm down, come back to your all fours pose, and exhale to child's pose. Again, let's tuck the toes, inhale, lift to downward facing dog. Exhale, settle into downward dog. Engage your shoulder blades. Knees can be bent still, or we can start to lengthen the legs depending on how it feels and how warm you are. And then let's step to a forward fold, placing feet hip width and parallel to each other. Let's bend the knees and just relax the spine. We can shake our head no, kind of like nodding as if you were saying no. Let go of any tension at the neck. On the next inhale, let's take a swan dive to come up. So let's hinge up from the hips, root down at the feet, rise up through the arms, have a big breath in. Exhale, prayer position. Come back to your breath. Match the inhale to the exhale. Awesome job. So we'll step out wide on the mat for some wide-legged squats. I'm going to angle this way so you can see my alignment better, but you definitely stay on the mat for better grip. So aiming your toes out, heels in a natural way. We want to scoop the core in and pull the shoulders back. To take a squat here, let's lower the hips down and back, and we're squeezing out our thighs to sort of open the knees back. So we want to prevent the knees from buckling in. We want to prevent the knees from shifting forward. So let's try it again. Let's inhale, rise. Exhale, just come down to your squat. You can reach out in front as a counterbalance. Inhale, we'll practice one more time. Send the hips down and back. Protect your knees. Let's start to add to this. Inhale, rise. Exhale, pull down through the shoulder blades like we did the very first thing we did. Inhale, we rise. Exhale, we pull down through the shoulder blades. Good. So we're hinging from our hips to come into this wide-legged squat. In other words, we're starting the motion at the hips. We're sending the hips down and back. And then we hinge from the hips in order to prevent rounding in the spine. So keep your spine supported, active, and as neutral as you can. One more time, let's come down to this squat. Let's rise. Don't lock your knees, but lock your elbows by your rib cage. Extend the arms back. So feet are pressed down, knees are soft, and we're reaching through the fingertips, engaging the triceps. We can pull palms closer together for more work, or even lift the arms just a little bit. Let's have one more breath here. On the exhale, take it down to the squat again. Just reach out in front. Inhale, rise, extend the arms behind you. Find that work again for the tricep, and then take it back down to your squat. Let's have a few more. Moving with our breath. We exhale to our squat. We inhale, engage the triceps. Move with your breath. Again, not rushing your breath. It's the number one thing we do in yoga. Emphasizing deep breathing. Let's do this one more time. On the exhale, have your squat. Inhale, rise up, reach up, release, exhale to prayer pose. We'll walk the feet back in and step toward the top of the mat. Rooting down at your feet, tall in your spine. Neutral posture, breathing, coming back to that intention where there is no struggle, there's no strength. And on the other side of your struggle is lots of strength and wisdom waiting for you. So hang in there. On the next inhale, let's sweep the arms all the way up. Exhale, let's flow down, swan diving. On the inhale, let's bend the knees. Let's bring the spine up to a flat back and reach the arms behind us in airplane pose. So we're bending the knees enough to release the hamstrings. We're reaching through the triceps. We're looking down. We're pulling in the core. And we're really drawing the shoulder blades together, feeling a lot of activation in the upper back. On the next exhale, release the arms down. Let's step the right leg back into a lunge. Press through the heel, look forward, lengthen the spine. On an inhale, let's rise up into a crescent lunge. Exhale, press through the heel. Look straight ahead. So we're moving kind of at a slow and steady pace today, which does not mean easy at all. That means it's tough. So we come back to that intention where there's no struggle, there's no strength. Focusing, gaining strength every step of the way. On an exhale, let's windmill the arms down and plant your right palm on the mat. You can use the block underneath it if you need a little more space or not, up to you. On an inhale, let's reach the left arm up, twisting lunge, looking up over that left hand if you want to. Exhale, let's bring it down. Let's flow with this a few times. Inhale, rise. Exhale, ease down. Inhale, rise. Exhale, ease down. Now this time we'll rise up. We'll have the option to come into our prayer twisting lunge. If that means, what that means is if you're already twisted naturally far enough where you can bring your hands to your prayer pose, then go for it. But what we don't want to do is take a twist that should be here and crank ourselves unnaturally into a twist. So really respect where you're at with your twists and take it easy. All right, on an exhale, let's ease it down. Let's revolve that right heel to the mat. Left palm to the left thigh. Inhale, let's windmill up to warrior two. Exhale, bend that front knee. So we're engaging the legs, the glutes, pressing the feet down firmly, pulling the core in. If you like this option today, we have the option to wrap our hands around opposite elbows. If we do that, we pull the shoulder blades down the back. We can look straight ahead, or we can keep looking over our left side. And this is just a way to feel a little more open through the chest and the torso. Maybe it helps you align your spine better, but listen to your body and do whatever version fits you better. On the next inhale, let's reach the left arm up, reverse warrior. Exhale, settle into the pose. We're looking up past that left hand. Keep looking up, especially when you're going through a struggle. Stay focused. Keep it all in perspective. On the next exhale, let's come back to warrior two. Let's lengthen the left leg. On an exhale, come back into warrior two. Inhale, lengthen the left leg. Exhale, warrior two. Let's do it a few more times. We're focusing on moving with breath. Feet are planted, and we're moving through this exercise to create stability for the knee. So you're focusing on moving without letting your knee wobble side to side, and we're moving in a way that does not cause pain. Come down to your warrior two on your next exhale, and let's easy does it. Let's windmill all the way down and step to plank pose. So a lot of times in vinyasa classes we have sun salutations. This kind of echoes that. But for our chaturanga to upward facing dog right now, we're going to do a modified version, just in case some of you aren't familiar with that transition. And yes, we're holding our plank on purpose. So have one more breath here. If you want to work on lowering down safely, shoulder blades are pulled down the back. We shift forward, we ease down, keeping our elbows by our rib cage. Okay, on an inhale, peel up without using your hands and pull your elbows towards your rib cage again. Look at the floor a couple feet in front of you. Don't strain the neck. On the next inhale, hug those elbows in again, press up to kneeling plank, take it to downward facing dog. Let's have a breath in downward dog. And then option to lift the right leg up in the air, and then exhale, hug it underneath you, stepping into a lunge, right foot forward. On an inhale, let's rise up into a crescent lunge, pressing through the left heel, aiming your tailbone down, trying not to strain at the lumbar. On an exhale, let's sweep the arms down, step to forward fold. On an inhale, swan diving up, reach up. Let's come into a chair pose. Send the hips down and back. Keep the spine tall and neutral. Try not to round. Let's hold for one breath. On the inhale, rising up. And on the exhale, come into your prayer pose. Pause for a breath. Check in. How are you doing? How are you feeling? Rest when you need to. Adjust when you need to. On the next inhale, let's sweep the arms back up. We'll do the same sequence for the other side. Exhale, take a swan dive down. Bend the knees. Inhale, lift the spine to a flat back. Reach the arms back behind you in airplane. Bending knees. Scooping in the core. Pulling shoulder blades down so that you're not shrugging. And shoulder blades pull together so that you're not rounding. Reaching through the hands and the fingertips, we engage the triceps. On the next exhale, let's release to forward fold. And let's step the left leg back for a lunge. Let's look forward, lengthen the spine. On an inhale, sweep the arms up, crescent lunge. Exhale, settle into the pose. So we're pressing through the left heel, bending the right knee. Pull those shoulder blades down the back so that you're not shrugging and holding tension at the neck. On the next exhale, let's sweep the arms down. Plant the left hand, again, with or without the block. On an inhale, sweep the right arm up. We can look past that right hand if it's comfortable. Exhale, sweep the arm down. Inhale, open up into your twist again. Exhale, ease it back down. We're really focusing on stabilizing that left shoulder. Keep it safe. Last time, opening up into the twist. Then if it's in your practice, we can bring our hands to prayer pose with the left elbow on the outside of the right knee. We pull the shoulder blades down the back, scoop the core in. On an exhale, release your hands down. Let's spiral the left heel down this time. Windmill your way up. Settle into warrior two, other side. If you need to adjust your stride, do it. Think about pressing your feet firmly into the mat. Think about squeezing your glutes and your legs, scooping in the core. And then arms are really active as they reach out in opposite directions. Let's have a deep breath. Exhale. Again, we have the option today to have that grip. We're replacing hands on opposite elbows. That's just an option. If it feels nice, do it. Do what feels nice on your body. Wherever we are, we want to pull the shoulders down. We want to scoop the core in, and we want to make sure there's no pressure or pain in the back. Let's release on an inhale and reach the right arm up for reverse warrior. We can go straight up with this reach, or we can have the tiniest bit of lateral flexion. Whatever you do, again, you want to feel nice on your back. So don't push any certain version of a pose. Do what you like. Do what feels good on your body. And every day is different. So pick what you like today. On the next exhale, let's come back to warrior two. Inhale, lengthen the right leg. Stabilize that knee. Exhale, warrior two. So inhale, lengthen. Exhale, warrior two. So let's move with our breath a few more times. Now we want to focus on when we lengthen the leg, we're not locking either knee. We're just trying to move in a way that's giving us some awareness of how we stabilize the knee. We always want to stabilize the knee. On the exhale, let's come back down to warrior two. Let's release the hand to the thigh, windmill our way down, and step to our plank pose. Same plank hold. If you'd like to lower the knees, you absolutely can. And again, we're sort of practicing how to lower down in a safe way with this modified version of transitioning from plank to chaturanga to eventually upward facing dog soon. So if you'd like to, we can shift, ease down, hugging elbows to ribs. Inhale, rising up into cobra, or an unsupported cobra, where we're working on building strength in the back. We're not using the hands in this version. Hugging elbows to the rib cage. On an inhale, press up, tuck the toes, take it to downward dog. Have a breath. And then option to inhale and lift the left leg up. Exhale, hug it underneath you, step it forward, lunge. On an inhale, we rise up, getting that crescent lunge, pressing through the right heel, lifting that right knee just a little bit. On an exhale, flow all the way down and step to forward fold. On the inhale, swan dive up. Let's hinge up from our hips. Exhale, finish in a chair pose. We can have many versions of chair. Hands at prayer pose, hands reaching out, even arms reaching up. But whatever we do, we want to make sure there's no tension or pain in the lumbar spine area. So lengthen the back, pull that core in. Inhale, let's rise up. Exhale, let's rest. Have a deep breath in. Exhale, let it go. Good job. On the next inhale, let's sweep the arms all the way up. We'll exhale, diving down, and we'll step to downward facing dog again. So find your downward dog. Tailbone pointing up. Shoulder blades pulling down the back. Knees as bent as you need them to be. All right, to keep moving, we're gonna lift the left leg first, and then bend at the knee, opening the hip to the left side. So what we're trying to do is get a left hip flexor stretch, front of the hip, but without changing the rest of downward dog. So our shoulders and our torso are still squared. On the next inhale, let's release that stretch and exhale, step through, left foot forward. Lengthen in this low lunge. And then let's step the right foot in about a foot. Keep that left knee bent. And inhale, let's hinge up. We're heading for warrior one. Reach up through the arms. Plant the right foot and exhale, bend the left knee. Adjust your stride if you need to. Let's think of really pressing down the right leg into the right foot. Squaring your hips forward to the short side of your mat. Bending your left knee. Option to exhale, release the arms and reach back behind you, opening across your heart, your chest, front of the shoulders. We can interlace our hands if that's comfortable. We don't want to force that. Let's check in with the low back. If there's tension there, let's think about aiming the tailbone down and also pulling in the core. On the next inhale, let's release the arms back up. Exhale, warrior one. Let's flow the arms down to the hips. And we'll start to hinge from our hips, keeping our back nice and long and neutral, stopping halfway down, grabbing the block if you have one, putting it at the left instep. So we're heading into pyramid pose. Let's think about re-squaring our hips. So we're pressing the left hip back and the right hip forward. Spine is tall, big breath in. Exhale, start to lengthen your left leg. So we don't want to lock either knee. Both feet are pressing down equally. Slowing down for a minute. Engaging back muscles just so that you don't round in your spine. And then you're free to hinge from your hips a little bit deeper if you want to increase your stretch. Let's come back to our breath. We want the inhale to match the exhale. We're letting go on the exhale. There's a struggle or a stress in your life right now. I love that breathing technique of letting go on your exhales. So letting go of that struggle or that stress. On your next inhale, let's bend that knee and stack it right over the ankle. We'll shift forward into tripod. So block can come with us, or we can just have hands on the floor. It's whatever you like. Let's lift the leg up so that it's parallel to the floor-ish. And let's flex the ankle, press through the heel, and then aim your toes toward the floor. So we're trying to square the hips also. We're pressing through both heels, lengthening both legs. Remember our intention right about now. Where there is no struggle, there's no strength. You are getting stronger every breath. If we'd like to move with this, on an exhale, bring the right knee to the outside of the left knee. Point the toe, keep it tight. Inhale, lift up, press through the heel again. Exhale, come down to that little squat. Inhale, lengthen both legs. Exhale, squatting. Let's do it 2 more times. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, bring it down. Last one, almost done. Let's inhale, lengthen. Carefully exhale, step it all the way back to your lunge. Get your balance. Look ahead. Take a big breath in. Exhale down to the knee. Inhale, rise up into a kneeling crescent lunge. So let's settle into this kneeling crescent lunge. Let's think of aiming the tailbone down. And then if we want to, we can certainly press forward a little bit. Let's think of pulling the shoulder blades down the back, trying not to hold any tension at the neck or the shoulders. If we're choosing to shift forward a little bit with this, we're thinking of the low back. So we don't want any pressure or pain at the low back. So aim your tailbone down, pull the core in. On the next exhale, let's sweep the arms down. Here's our chance to practice our upward facing dog. We'll step back to plank pose. Now think about if you've practiced upward facing dog before, or if your spine feels ready for it. You can do the version we've already done today where we lower down and have that unsupported cobra if you'd rather. If you'd like upward dog today, we'll shift, we'll lower to chaturanga, then flip the feet and press right on up into upward facing dog. Let's look forward so that we're not straining the neck. Let's have a breath, squeeze the core, the glutes, and then tuck the toes, take it to downward facing dog. Have a breath in, exhale. Awesome job. That's not an easy sequence. On the next inhale, let's lift the right leg up in the air, bend at the knee, open the hips to the right side. So with that right foot, it's like we're trying to touch our left shoulder. Now, that's probably not going to happen for most of us, myself included, but that's the direction we're going in. Square your shoulders, stretch the hip. On an exhale, release that hip stretch and then step it all the way through, right foot forward, look ahead, lengthen your spine, and then step the left foot in about a foot or so for warrior one. Inhale, hinge up, reach up, exhale, bend that right knee. So let's talk about the back foot. We want to press into the mat. It's at this 45-degree angle so that we can square our hips without pain at the knee. So square your hips toward the short side of your mat. Aim your tailbone down. Scoop that core in. So we're feeling a stretch at the left hip flexor and a lot of strengthening at the left glute. Getting stronger. Deep breathing. Option to swim your arms down, reaching back behind you. Maybe even interlacing. If we're doing this, let's really check back in with the low back, that there's no arching, that we haven't come out of alignment, there's no pain at all. Deep breathing. On an inhale, release the arms, reach up. Exhale, warrior one. Now let's flow the arms to the hips and start to hinge from our hips, stopping when we're parallel to the floor-ish. Let's grab the block and put it at the right instep. So right now my knee is still bent. Let's think about making sure hips are aligned. Let's press the right hip back and the left hip forward. Big breath in, lengthen your back. Exhale, start to lengthen your right leg. So again, we're having a little break, slowing down. We don't want to lock either knee. Really tempting to lock the knees on this pose, so don't do it. Keep them a little soft. Engage both of your feet. Scoop the core in. Now let's activate the back muscles, lengthen the spine. Exhale, hinging from your hips if you want to go deeper in this pose. So we're listening to the hamstring, that we don't overdo. We're listening to the knees, that we don't ask too much of them, we don't lock them. And then we're coming back to our breath. Letting go. Let's have one more breath here. And on the next inhale, bend that front knee, stack it over the ankle. We can come forward with or without the block to tripod. Let's flex the lifted heel. Let's lengthen both legs without locking a knee. And let's aim that left foot toward the floor. Instead of letting it go out to the side, let's aim it toward the floor. Square your hips toward the floor. Now, if you want to move with this a little bit, we will on the next breath. Remember, this is a strength pose, getting stronger. On your next exhale, let's bring the left knee to the outside of the right knee. Point the toe. Inhale, lift, extend through both legs. Exhale, tuck down. Inhale, lengthen and lift. Exhale, come down to this little squat. Big breath in, rising. Exhale, squatting. One more time. Inhale, lift. Exhale, squat. So we'll come up on the inhale and we'll release by stepping back to a lunge, looking forward. Exhale, lowering the left knee. On an inhale, rising up. Crescent lunge, aim the tailbone down. Slide the shoulder blades down the back. Look straight ahead, no tension at the neck. Stretching the left hip and perhaps easing forward just a little bit, but listening to the lumbar. Coming back to your breath. Matching the inhale to the exhale. And on the next exhale, let's sweep the arms down. Step back to our plank pose one more time today. Same two options. After this brief hold in plank, we'll have the option to lower down completely and have that unsupported cobra, or to flip up into upward facing dog. You pick. Do whatever you feel comfortable with. All right, on the next exhale, let's shift forward, lower down. If we're going to upward dog, we flip the feet and rise up. If we're in cobra, we're lying down and engaging the shoulder blades. Good. If we're in upward dog, let's flip the feet again, press it to downward dog. And if you're in cobra, meet me in downward dog also. On the next exhale, let's step forward to a forward fold. Relax the back, let the legs lengthen. Maybe nod your head as if you were saying yes this time. Trying to let tension go from the neck. On the next inhale, bend the knees. Inhale, swan dive up. Exhale, prayer pose, rest. So moving into a balance pose before we come down to the mat. We're going to have a hip stretch in standing balance pigeon. So let's start with feet in mountain pose. Core is nice and engaged. Shoulders are back. Good posture. Let's inhale, rise the arms. Exhale, let's come into chair pose. Reach forward, but send the hips back. We'll shift our weight to the right foot and leg. Center of gravity is at my hips though. I'm careful not to shift forward onto my knee. So center of gravity is at the hips. So we're on the right foot now. We peel the left heel up. Stay here if you want to. Or cross the left ankle over the right knee. Flex the left ankle. We can sink the hips back and down more to get a deeper stretch in the left glute and hip area. Let's pull the shoulder blades down and back. Lengthen, not rounding at the spine. Hands can come to prayer if you'd rather have them there. We're looking at something in front of us that isn't moving. Focusing. On the next inhale, let's rise and step back to mountain. Pause for a breath. Move in any way if you need to. And on the next inhale, sweep the arms up again. Exhale, let's come into our chair pose again. And a reminder again that the center of gravity is at your hips, not jutting out over your knees. So don't strain your knees. All right, Let's shift to the left foot this time. Peel the right heel up. And then if you want to, crossing the right ankle over that left knee. Let's bring length to the spine. This time stretching the right glute and hip area. Option to sink down a little more if you want to. Option to send your hands to prayer pose. Again, finding something to look at that's not moving. Steady breathing. On the next inhale, let's rise and step to mountain pose. Pause for a breath in and out. Coming back to our intention today. Where there is no struggle, there's no strength. I know that lots of strength and wisdom wait on me on the other side of this struggle. On the inhale, let's rise up through the arms, reach up. Exhale, take a swan dive down. Let the spine and the head and the neck relax. Then let's step to all fours pose and come down to a seated place on the mat. Our last working pose of the day is going to be boat pose. So if you still have your block handy, bring it with you. And then find your hip bones again, your sitting bones, so that you're on the pelvis, not on your tailbone. Big difference. So we want to be on the sitting bones. Let's bring feet flat on the floor. Let's hold the block right above the knees at the inner thighs. Hands just rest lightly at the hamstrings. We can look forward. Let's roll the shoulders down and back and start to recline just a little. This is already a tremendous amount of work going on here. Core, hip flexors, inner thighs, and the key to all core stability is going to be the pelvic floor. So engage the pelvic floor as well. So here we are in this little starter setup for boat. Feel free to stay right here. What we don't want to do is force a version of boat we're not ready for, where we roll to the tailbone. So stay on your hip points. Then if you want to, you can start by alternating with your feet. Feel those quads engaging. Just looking at something in front of you that's not moving. Getting stronger. Breathe. Maybe lift both. Squeeze the block. Hands are just lightly resting. So we're in this V. Let's see if we can make our V a little more narrow. So pull it up, lengthen your spine, squeeze your core. Pelvic floor is active. Deep breaths. You're doing great. Have one more breath. Exhale, let's release gently. Woo. And we're done with the block for the day. Let's bring it into butterfly, bringing soles of the feet together and bringing your hands to your ankles. So in your butterfly pose, sitting tall at first, shoulders down the back, having a deep breath in. We can engage our outer thighs just a little bit to give us slightly more of a stretch. We're listening to our breath. And if we're seated tall enough, we can let one ear float to the shoulder, stretching the neck. It's the side of the neck and where it meets up at the shoulder. So releasing there, it's a place we hold a lot of tension. On the inhale, bring the head back up to neutral. Exhale, go the other way. Relax your face. Close your eyes if you want to. On an inhale, bring the head up to neutral. Exhale, we can hinge from our hips if we want a little more stretch through the inner thighs and hips. We're doing what feels good on the body, so listen to your body. Couple deep breaths. On the next inhale, Coming back up to a neutral place. And opening legs for a straddle split. So on the hip bones again, the sitting bones, seated tall. Let's bring the right leg into the left inner thigh. And let's rotate our torso to face that bent knee. Let's release the left hand down. Inhale, reach the right arm up. Exhale, reach over, stretching the side of the body. We can look up if it feels okay at the neck, or anywhere that it feels okay at the neck. On the next inhale, let's rise straight up. Exhale, release. Switch your legs. Left foot to right inner thigh. Now turn to face your left knee. Relax the right arm. On an inhale, rise up through the left side. Exhale, reach over, stretching the side of the body. Listening to the neck, not straining. Let's match our inhale to our exhale. On the next inhale, rising up. Exhale, release. Good. We'll bring our legs out in front of us now for a twist and hip stretch to bring our practice to a close today. Still on the sitting bones, let's cross the left foot over the right leg. Let's bring the left hand behind us, right arm reaching out. Let's have a big breath in, and as we exhale, twist toward the knee, hug it to your chest. Continue the twist by turning neck and then the head last, so long as it feels good. And in our twist here, we want it to feel really nice. We want to feel tension melting away. We don't want to cause tension. So make sure that you're respecting your body and your own limits here. On the next inhale, release the twist and switch the legs. Let's cross right over left, right hand behind the right hip, a strong shoulder. Let's inhale, reach forward with the left arm, and exhale, turn to the knee, twisting. Again, matching the inhale to the exhale. Listening to our breath. Making sure this twist feels nice, as well as the hip stretch, that we're getting deep in the right hip. On an inhale, let's lengthen the spine, and exhale, untwist. We'll come to an easy cross-legged pose. On the sitting bones, of course, seated tall, shoulders back, eyes closed. We're letting our breath return to normal. Just pausing to notice how we're feeling after moving and breathing. Letting our breath slow down and come to a normal place. And if you have the time in your day today, I highly recommend you relaxing, just lying on your mat, relaxing for a few minutes. Just soaking up the benefits of your practice, letting your body calm down. And if you don't have time for that today, we'll bring our practice to a close here. Just remembering our intention, that quote, where there is no struggle, there's no strength. So I can be encouraged, very encouraged, knowing that on the other side of this struggle I'm facing is a lot of wisdom and a lot of strength. Let's inhale, rise up through the arms. Exhale to our prayer pose. And the light and life in me honors the light and life in you. Namaste.